In the Grand Chamber of the Galaxy Council, 1,000 alien species gathered beneath crystalline domes that stretched toward distant stars. The air hummed with translators as delegates mocked the latest intelligence reports. Humans, chittered Ambassador Zix, his compound eyes gleaming with amusement. Primitive tool users who still burn fossil fuels for energy. They haven't even mastered faster than light travel. Laughter rippled through the assembly like waves across a poisoned sea. But in the shadows of the Great Hall, an ancient keeper of records named Vether raised a trembling appendage. His voice cut through the mockery like a blade through silk. Do not attack the humans. They will hunt you forever. The laughter grew louder, drowning out his warning, as delegates dismissed him as a senile relic of forgotten wars. The vote was unanimous. Operation Pacification would commence immediately, with overwhelming force to crush human resistance before it could even begin. Massive dreadnoughts lifted off from 100 worlds, their hulls bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Citizens across the galaxy watched in celebration, placing bets on how quickly the human problem would be resolved. Children pressed their faces against viewing screens, eager to witness the Empire's might. The armada that assembled near the galactic rim was a testament to 10,000 years of conquest ships like floating cities, weapons that bent reality itself. Admiral Kresh stood on his flagship's bridge, watching Earth's yellow star grow brighter. 48 hours, he announced to his officers. That's how long I give them. The human fleet that met them in the asteroid belt looked like scrap metal held together by desperation and prayer. Converted cargo haulers bristled with jury-rigged missile pods. Mining ships mounted with ancient nuclear warheads drifted beside pleasure yachts turned into suicide bombers. The aliens catalogued every vessel through their sensors, noting the primitive chemical propulsion, the crude armor plating, the laughably outdated weapons systems. They're sending children with slingshots against gods, Krish muttered, giving the order to advance. His tactical officer estimated a 99.7% probability of total human defeat within 6 hours. The only question was whether any humans would survive long enough to formally surrender. But something went wrong in those dark hours among the asteroids. The alien fleet's communications cut to static, then silence. Emergency beacons screamed briefly before dying. When Council reinforcements arrived 3 days later, they found only wreckage drifting in the Voidalian wreckage. Human ships had vanished like ghosts, leaving behind floating graveyards of the galaxy's most advanced warships. Battle recordings showed impossible scenes: human fighters ramming dreadnoughts, mining charges detonating inside alien hulls, and everywhere, the sound of human voices laughing as they died. The survivors spoke of enemies who fought like they had nothing left to lose, who turned every scrap of metal into a weapon, who smiled as they pulled the triggers on devices that would kill them all. The second wave brought ground forces to Earth's surface, confident that orbital bombardment had broken human resistance. But the cities were empty, the military bases abandoned. Then the attacks began, sudden, brutal, coordinated. Humans emerged from sewers and subway tunnels like vengeful spirits, striking with improvised explosives and vanishing before retaliation could come. They fought from schools and hospitals, churches and shopping centers, turning every building into a fortress. Supply convoys disappeared overnight, their guards found days later with their throats cut and their equipment gone. The aliens had conquered 1,000 worlds, but never faced an enemy that made war so personal, so intimate, so utterly without mercy. Reports flooded back to the council chambers, each more disturbing than the last. Humans didn't just resist, they adapted. They studied captured alien technology during brief truces, then used it against its creators. They memorized the faces of enemy commanders, learning their names, their families, their fears. Villages that had never seen warfare organized into militias overnight. Children as young as 10 carried coded messages through war zones, their eyes holding the cold fury of those who had lost everything. Even farmers became saboteurs, poisoning supply lines with chemicals that turned alien stomachs inside out. The invasion had awakened something primal in humanity, something the galaxy had never encountered before. Commander Viketh, captured during a failed raid on New York's ruins, spoke his final words before human executioners dragged him away. You don't understand what you've done. We fight wars to win territory, to gain resources, to expand our influence. But you, you take this personally. Every death is a debt that must be repaid. Every burned home is a wound that never heals. You don't wage war, you conduct vengeance. His transmission cut to screams, then silence. The recording spread through alien networks like a virus. carrying with it the growing realization that humanity fought by rules no civilized species could comprehend. They had turned warfare into a blood hunt that would span generations. Desperate for resolution, the Galaxy Council attempted diplomacy, sending envoys under flags of truce to negotiate surrender terms. Ambassador Starr landed on Earth with credentials from 50 worlds, carrying offers of technological advancement and galactic citizenship in exchange for submission. Neither he nor his delegation was ever seen again. Their ships were found orbiting Luna 3 months later, modified with human technology and broadcasting a simple message on repeat. The hunt continues. No bodies were ever recovered. The only trace of the diplomatic mission was security footage, showing human soldiers welding something inside the ship's hulls. Something that ticked. Alien colonies throughout the Outer Rim began reporting mysterious attacks. Settlements that had existed for centuries vanished overnight, their populations simply gone. Their buildings reduced to twisted metal sculptures that spelled out human words in languages the aliens were only beginning to understand. The only consistent signature was a symbol carved deep into every structure, the silhouette of a wolf, howling at stars that no longer seemed friendly. Survivors spoke of attackers who moved like shadows, who struck without warning and disappeared before reinforcements could arrive. The humans had learned to hunt among the stars themselves, bringing their terrible patience to worlds light years from their burning homeworld. Fear spread through the Galaxy Council like plague through a ship's ventilation system. Species that had dominated their sectors for millennia now jumped at shadows, seeing human faces in every darkness. Military commanders requested transfers to the galactic core, as far from human space as possible. The aliens had expected soldiers, but humans fought like predators who viewed war as the ultimate sport, who smiled in the darkness while hunting their prey through asteroid fields and derelict stations. Captured footage showed human boarding parties moving through alien ships with the fluid grace of apex predators. Their faces lit with something that transcended mere tactical advantage. They were enjoying themselves. Vether returned to the council chambers, his ancient frame more bent than before, his voice barely above a whisper as he addressed the assembled delegates. I warned you. I tried to make you understand. Humans are not like us. When we fight, we seek victory. When they fight, they seek completion. You have not engaged an army. You have marked yourselves as prey for a species that has never learned to stop hunting. His words echoed in the vast chamber as delegates shifted uncomfortably, many already drafting evacuation plans for their homeworlds. The Old Keeper's warning had become prophecy, and the galaxy was learning its truth one burning colony at a time. The Third Expeditionary Force never reached Earth. Ships began disappearing while still in hyperspace. Their final transmissions, speaking of impossible things, human voices coming through their communication systems, human faces appearing on their screens, human weapons firing from ships that shouldn't exist. The humans had not only adapted alien technology, but improved upon it, creating vessels that could strike from the spaces between dimensions. Trade routes collapsed as merchant vessels reported attacks by ships that appeared from nowhere, crewed by humans who had somehow learned to navigate the void itself. The galaxy's economy began to crumble under the weight of humanity's relentless expansion. Commercial networks spread the legend through every port and trading post. Harm a human, and their descendants will hunt yours until the stars burn cold. Entire sectors declared neutrality, refusing to participate in the Council's war. Mercenary fleets disbanded rather than face humanity's wrath. Even the galaxy's most hardened criminals spoke of humans in hushed whispers, crossing themselves with whatever appendages their species possessed when human ships appeared on long-range sensors. The hunters had become the hunted, and the prey had revealed itself as something far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The final council session devolved into chaos as member species declared independence, rather than continue a war they could no longer comprehend. Panic filled the chamber as reports arrived of human fleets massing in the galactic rim, no longer hiding, no longer striking from shadows. Vefter's voice rose above the din one last time. You believed you were conquering primitives, but you have awakened something that your civilized minds cannot grasp. You have not angered an empire. You have not challenged a military. You have marked yourselves as prey for an entire species, and they will never stop hunting you. The great chamber fell silent as the weight of his words settled, like gravity, upon their souls. On the bridge of a captured alien dreadnought, Captain Sarah Chen stood before viewports that showed the galaxy spread out like a hunting ground. Her ship was one of hundreds, all crewed by humans who had learned to turn their enemies' weapons against them, who had adapted alien technology to serve purposes its creators never imagined. She placed her hand against the cold metal, feeling the vibration of engines that pulsed like a predator's heartbeat. Her voice was barely audible above the ship's hum, but every word carried the weight of humanity's promise. They started the hunt. We will finish it. The galaxy learned too late that humans are not prey, nor are they soldiers in any conventional sense. They are hunters, and once marked as their quarry, escape becomes impossible. The hunt had begun with humanity's first blood spilled in the void, and it would continue until every debt was paid, every wrong avenged, every enemy brought to ground. For humans had discovered something the galaxy had forgotten in its millennia of civilization. Some hunts are eternal, and some prey never stops running. Please subscribe for more powerful stories.